What's up, blue people? I am Evasive, and today we're going to learn about the way of water. James Cameron, an ocean enthusiast known around the world for directing 3 of the top 4 highest-earning films ever made. He is arguably the most successful movie director / submarine captain in history. He made Terminator. He made Aliens. He made Titanic. Also, he's on the board of a generative AI company, and he thought Emilia Perez was one of the best films of 2024.
What I saw that blew me away was Emilia Perez. I've seen it 3 times now.
Yes, me too. I loved it.
I mean, I think it's bold, it's daring, it's a vision.
Hello, very nice to meet you. I'd like to know about sex change operation.
I see.
It's beautifully executed. It's a beautiful piece of filmmaking.
Penis to vagina.
Yes.
So there's a lot of things in it that I just find, fascinating.
But I'm not going to talk about that. What I am going to do is tell you about James Cameron's worst movie. A movie so bad he tried to have his name removed from it and refused to take credit for it for decades after it was released. And that movie is this. This right here. This is the only James Cameron movie I own a copy of. Our story starts, of course, with Jaws. Released in 1975, the giant shark movie was a massive box office smash hit. So naturally, Hollywood would try to replicate that with an explosion of scary animal movies throughout the late 70s. They tried everything. Grizzly bears, octopuses, dogs, killer whales, various bugs, alligators, tomatoes. And of course, Piranhas. Released in 1978, Piranha was a low-budget horror movie directed by Joe Dante, who would later go on to make Gremlins and Gremlins 2 and that Looney Tunes movie with Brendan Fraser. Considered both a parody and a ripoff of Jaws, Piranha was very obviously created to capitalize on the success of the big shark movie. It's not like they were trying to hide it either. 7 minutes into the movie, the main character is literally shown playing a Jaws arcade game. That's not to say it's bad though, it's actually pretty fun to watch. The US Army breeds a group of crazed super piranhas that accidentally get released into a river in California. The main characters try to stop them before they reach a summer camp full of kids. The piranhas are made of rubber and they consume people in a cloud of bubbles and red food dye, and it's only 90 minutes long, aka the perfect length for a movie. Reviews at the time were mixed, but it managed to make about $16 million worldwide. Hoping to make a marketable franchise out of this, producers Chaco Van Leeuwen and Jeff Schechtman started cooking up a sequel without involvement from executive producer Roger Corman. Originally, they wanted Joe Dante and the original cast to come back again, but they all said, absolutely not, you cannot make me do this. So instead, they decided to make a standalone story with a new cast and a new director, a guy who worked for Roger Corman named Miller Drake. They also let the assistant director on the first movie, Charles Egley, take a stab at screenwriting by letting him make the script. Apparently, he didn't want his name on this disaster though, so he used a pseudonym instead. Totally understandable. With a director and writer attached, the 2 producers started fishing for Piranha 2 money. The only guy taking the bait, though, was an eccentric Italian producer named Ovidio G. Assonitis, a man who made a name for himself in the 70s by producing the first Italian cannibal movie and for directing a knockoff of The Exorcist called Beyond the Door and getting sued by Warner Brothers for it.
I have a court order demanding an immediate halt to this unauthorized imitation. Boys?
Yeah.
Before I continue this fish story, though, here's a quick message from this video's sponsor, ZocDoc. Ow! Oh no, I just got bit by a rogue flying piranha. I hate it when this happens. I should really have that bite looked at, but it's just such a hassle to find a new doctor. I just changed insurance providers this year, so that means I'm gonna have to call around and get stuck on hold and work around their schedules, and it's just such a hassle to deal with. And what am I even talking about? I can just use today's video sponsor, ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment. From primary care to dentistry, eye care, skin care, and nearly everything in between, ZocDoc makes it easy to book in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers. With ZocDoc, you can filter for doctors by insurance, location, and specialties, and see reviews by verified patients so you can choose the best, most convenient care for you. Like last year, I had to see a dermatologist to take care of this pesky scar that wasn't healing properly. In the past, I would have spent so much time researching all the different dermatologists available in my city, but thanks to ZocDoc, it was easy for me to find and book an appointment with a great one near me. The visit was perfect. I was instantly comfortable with him and he knew exactly what to do to get rid of that scar. He zapped it with a laser a few times, gave me some ointment, and that was it. And the scar is barely visible now. It was a perfect experience. Plus, ZocDoc helps you get appointments fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. And you can even score same-day appointments. No need to call doctor's offices and wait on hold either. ZocDoc lets you do everything online. So stop waiting, stop guessing, and start getting the care you need. Go to ZocDoc.com/evasive to find and instantly book an appointment with a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/evasive to find and instantly book an appointment with a top-rated doctor today. Thank you so much to ZocDoc for sponsoring, and now back to the fish story. Now, like with any low-budget movie made this long ago, there's a lot of conflicting information about how exactly this movie got made. According to an Entertainment Weekly article I dug out of the Wayback Machine, Asanites claimed the suit was ultimately resolved when he promised not to make a sequel to Beyond the Door, and Warner entered an agreement that the producer oversee 3 movies for the company. One of those films would be Piranha 2: The Spawning. This conflicts with another account from Jeff Schechtman, though, who said he was the one who approached Asanites to make the movie. Also, the Warner Brothers name is nowhere on this thing, but Asanites said it was Warner who asked him to make the movie in the first place, and they demanded that he hire an American director and also that he make the piranhas fly. The IMDb trivia section, though, says that Warner Brothers did finance the movie, but they didn't like the finished product, so they decided not to release it themselves, which led to a porn company distributing it instead. This trivia is unsourced, though, and I couldn't find any verification for this, so... Anyway, with money secured, the producers and directors started looking around for creative crew members. And while searching Roger Corman's office for spare employees, Drake visited the set of a low-budget sci-fi movie called Galaxy of Terror and found a 27-year-old community college dropout and former truck driver named James Cameron. Do we have a photo? Okay, just imagine this kid like 10 years older. Cameron was working in the special effects team on this movie, and when they needed a shot of maggots moving on camera, he came up with the genius idea of running an exposed electrical wire on a fake arm and shocking the maggots into action. Impressed by his bug directing skills, Drake decided to hire Cameron as the special effects director on Piranha 2. With the most important details figured out, they all started prepping to film the movie. But problems began right away when Asanites started fighting with Drake because he was apparently trying to actually direct the movie he was hired to direct. So before filming commenced, Asanites fired Drake. He would never end up directing a movie after this. Aww. But he did end up working on some of his new friend James Cameron's movies, so it's fine. Anyway, with the director out, Asanites started looking for someone he could easily boss around and figured the undereducated 27-year-old in charge of wrangling fake fish would probably love to keep his mouth shut and do as he was told in exchange for a directing credit. So he offered him the job, and like any ambitious young film crew member would do, if you suddenly offered to promote him to the top position on a film set, Cameron happily accepted.
I said, would you like to direct a movie, Piranha? He jumped. He was so happy. He said, oh my God, you really asked me to direct a movie? Said, yes, would you? Under my, of course, control and everything.
With the creative team ready to go, the producers hired some mostly unknown actors, found a beachside hotel in Ocho Rios, Jamaica, and flew everyone out to start filming. And right away, the movie's little budget became a massive problem. The crew was all Italians or local Jamaicans who couldn't speak each other's language. Actor Lance Henriksen didn't have a costume and had to buy the clothes off a random waiter for $75. They had to shoot a scene in a real morgue with real dead bodies because they couldn't afford to build a fake morgue. And a helicopter stunt went wrong and caused James Cameron to drop his camera in the ocean. And this was all in the first week of shooting. Also, the flying fish looked like this. Through all of this, though, James Cameron tried really hard to make the movie as good as possible. Too hard, actually. Asanitis was clearly much more worried about the cost of the movie than the quality, and he was annoyed that this 27-year-old was trying way too hard. So shortly into filming, he fired him and took over directing himself.
In the case of James Cameron, he didn't know what he wanted. He was experiencing, he was at school with me. He was learning. And I had to take over day number 8 of shooting. We were behind 8 days, basically. And of course, you cannot do that with my money. So I took over, but I asked him to stay next to me up to the end of the movie and to learn. And he did it. And of course, he was very upset about it. He was suffering a lot. But, we are not playing games. No. We're making movies. There are money involved, and you cannot just accept craziness.
That clip was from an interview in 2021. Back in 2009, though, when James Cameron was promoting the first Avatar movie, he went on the show 60 Minutes and told a very different story.
Why were you fired? The producer wanted to take over the movie and direct it himself, especially the scenes with the penthouse pinups. It was extremely sleazy, the whole story. But again, all part of the learning curve, right?
Asanitis was still active in the film industry, though. So, of course, he saw this clip when it aired, and it pissed him off so much he felt the need to defend himself by telling Entertainment Weekly,
"That was absolutely wrong. It's not my style. And besides, I don't need to do this just to get laid. He did a lot of terrible, stupid things that are typical of a person that has not had the experience. He took the whole crew on an incredible cruise trying to get under the cloud to reproduce the lighting. We had to spend the whole day running after the cloud on several kinds of boats."
Once again, though, this conflicts with another account from Jeff Scheitman, who said that James Cameron was just trying to do a good job and Asanitis was a major pain in the ass. Honestly, I think the truth is probably that nobody wants to be held responsible for this. To this day, all these decades later, it seems like everyone involved in this movie is still pointing fingers at each other.
Problem is that the special effects he prepared were a disaster. The master of the special effects, James Cameron, did a disaster on his first movie because the guy is absolutely crazy.
Anyway, whatever the reason, Asanitis took over, but because of his contract with Warner Brothers, he had to keep James Cameron's name listed on the film as the director. Afraid that he was about to have his first ever directing credit attached to a piece of wet garbage, Cameron scraped what little money he had at the time and flew to Rome to beg Asanitis to let him edit the movie himself. Obviously, Asanitis didn't want him to do that, but rather than go back home, Cameron got a cheap hotel room and, allegedly broke into the editing room at night to work on the movie. Allegedly.
Did you break into the editing suite?
I will admit to no such thing. See, that would be a crime had I done
did.
that.
See, you tell them the story. You tell the story.
Well, if one were to do such a thing,
right,
one would have done it in Rome at the home office of the producer. The issue would have been that one wouldn't have known if one was actually a real filmmaker because one would have been fired.
Right, 8 days in. Right.
8 days
hypothetically
in,
speaking.
Hypothetically, for reasons that the material didn't cut together, even though I never saw a foot of the film. So
you broke in and you edited
no, I
the
didn't
film.
say I broke in. You're not.
So somebody broke in.
Somebody
and
might have broken
edited the
in.
film.
Yeah.
Besides committing cinematic espionage, Cameron was also broke and couldn't afford food, which led him to root around in the hotel garbage for leftovers like a little rat man. The stress and malnutrition, of course, ended up making Cameron really sick with a high fever. As he later said in 1992,
"I was pissed off at the world, isolated and alienated in a city where I could speak to no one. I dreamed about machines with glowing red eyes who walked among us like men, bent on turning the course of history to their own cold purposes. From this dream came the idea for a movie which was called Terminator, in my mind even before a single word of the story was written down. 11 years after my fever dream in Rome, I should kiss the feet of the scumbags who were responsible for keeping me in that dark, depressing state of mind.
So arguably, if it wasn't for Piranha 2 being so bad and James Cameron being such a broke tryhard, Terminator might not exist. And by extension, neither would any of his other movies. I mean, just imagine how different cinema would be today if James Cameron hadn't gotten sick from eating Italian food out of the garbage while illegally working on a failed Piranha movie sequel. Showbiz is so beautiful sometimes, you gotta love it. Anyway, Assanites caught wind of what Cameron was doing and undid all of his work. And after all that mess, the movie finally premiered in Italy in August 1982. Barely anybody saw it, it didn't make any money, plans for a third movie were cancelled, and Assanites moved right on to his next project, a cowboy scientist movie starring child molester and future dad from Seventh Heaven, Stephen Collins.
He's going to show them he's the one who can stop them in Choke Canyon.
As for the movie itself, I watched it, and honestly, I was mostly just confused and kind of bored. Not as many flying piranhas as I would have liked. But also, I haven't seen that many low-budget old horror movies, so I feel like I'm not really qualified to critique this. Which is why I decided to call in an expert. Someone who really appreciates the fine art of face-eating piranhas with wings. That's right, I got a niche horror movie YouTuber to do my job for me. Here he is now.
Okay, so first of all, you need to understand that this movie is a huge piece of crap, and for that reason, I love it. Second of all, this movie is incredibly horny. The main motivation of just about every character is getting it on with someone.
You know what the doctor said killed my last husband?
No, ma'am.
Excitement.
Making this possibly the most sexual fish film I have ever watched. And yes, I have seen The Shape of Water. If you've seen the first movie, which I do recommend because it's a fun watch, then you'll remember that the plot is kicked off by a young couple going skinny dipping in a restricted pool where they get eaten by mutated piranhas. This was a great opening because the disappearance of these two lovebirds literally kicks off every event that happens in the rest of the movie. Piranha 2, on the other hand, is extremely good at copying without understanding. It opens with a young couple going skinny dipping in a restricted sunken Navy boat where they get eaten by mutated piranhas. However, unlike the first movie, in this one, apparently no one even notices that these two have gone missing, or at least doesn't care enough to report it. But because this is a cheap horror movie made in the 80s by Italians, there is a lot of sex and nudity, starting with this scene where we get to see some very uncomfortable looking underwater shaboinking. Meanwhile, at the resort where most of this movie takes place, we meet Chris and his mother Anne. Chris is a fairly unimportant character to the point that the Wikipedia plot summary only mentions him once in passing towards the end, but the less said about him the better because Chris very obviously wants to bang his mom.
Oh, Chris, get that thing out of my bed.
The mother in question, Anne, is the diving instructor at the resort they both live at, and her son Chris is not the only one trying to get with her. A tourist named Tyler is staying at the resort, and he keeps finding ways to run into Anne and insert himself into her daily routines, which Anne is mostly ambivalent towards. On one of her usual group dives, Anne finds the partially eaten body of one of her students in that sunken Navy boat from the cold open. It's honestly really unclear to me whether this is supposed to be one of those underwater shaboinkers from that opening scene. Since the way everyone talks about the corpse, it sounds like that person was there at the dive with Anne that very day. And honestly, it doesn't even matter, since even the writers very clearly did not care about the plot of this movie. Anne's husband is a local police officer who is so bored that he spends most of his time driving around on his speedboat and harassing people.
Hey! I want to talk to one of you. you!
His name is Steve, and he is very upset that the dead body happens to be one of Anne's students, since that makes her seem at least partially responsible for the death. Anne and Tyler the Creeper both break into the morgue to take a look at the body and try and figure out what killed this person, when a flying piranha literally bursts out of the body like that infamous chest burster scene from Alien and kills a morgue worker. There's a bunch of pointless bullshit where Anne tries to cancel diving lessons, but the resort manager won't let her because money, blah blah blah.
You're sticking a red-hot poker up my ass by canceling now?
And our intrepid heroes discovered that these are genetically modified piranhas developed by the US military as a sort of bioweapon or something, blah blah blah.
We spliced in genes from different species to create the ultimate killer. Grunions who could live out of water. Dactyloteridae, the common flying fishes, could live in all environments. You understand?
There's more ham-fisted callbacks to the superior first movie, blah blah blah. Okay, let's move this thing along now. Steve and a local fisherman named Gabby and Gabby's son managed to get a hold of a flying piranha wing, so now all three of them believe Anne's story about flying piranhas. Then Gabby's son gets eaten by piranhas, and Gabby vows revenge on the piranhas. That night, the resort manager is hosting an annual midnight fish fry, where all the resort guests go out to the beach to catch these fish called grunions, and they all bring them back, cook the grunions, eat them all together, everyone gets drunk and has a good time. It sounds kind of weird, but also kind of fun. I can dig it. Though of course this year there's the problem of flying piranhas, and they all start attacking the resort guests and killing them. Gabby steps out and starts fighting the flying piranhas by throwing goddamn sticks of dynamite at them, because why the hell not? He predictably gets killed and eaten by the flying piranhas. Because the writers were running out of ideas and just wanted to end this insane and stupid movie, the piranhas are now scared of sunlight and all leave when the sun comes up. Anne and Steve come up with a plan to blow up the sunken ship where all the piranhas live. This is also the scene where they both remember, oh right, we have a son, and they both start freaking out because they realize they have no idea where Chris has been for pretty much the entire movie. It turns out that Chris has been sailing around in a boat with this girl he has a huge crush on, and they both got stranded on a deserted island and then got unstranded but then got lost at sea, and now they're finally coming back to the resort. I didn't talk about any of this earlier because honestly it was just boring. I was doom scrolling on my phone during all these scenes. Anne and Tyler the Creeper both dive down to the sunken Navy boat and plant the bomb, but unfortunately Tyler gets stuck in the boat and ends up getting eaten by piranhas while Anne manages to escape. Meanwhile, Steve spots his son from up in his police helicopter, and then Steve decides to just let his helicopter blow up so that he can get his son and future daughter-in-law onto an abandoned boat nearby. I honestly have no idea what's going on in the movie at this point. The reason why there's an abandoned boat nearby is because there was also this weird little subplot with these two lesbian nudist pirates that they were sailing this boat over to the resort and they were gonna steal a whole bunch of food from the resort. I didn't talk about that either because it had nothing to do with the rest of the movie. But that's why there's an abandoned boat that just happens to be floating directly above the sunken boat with all the piranhas. Anne manages to climb up onto the boat with her family and they all make it to safety while the sunken Navy boat explodes, killing all of the piranhas. With that, the film ends, and to anyone who was playing a drinking game where they took a drink anytime I said the word piranha, I am so sorry, and hopefully we can get a GoFundMe or something going to help pay your hospital bills.
So that was the story of James Cameron's worst movie. And when you go see Avatar 3 this holiday season, just know that you too could become one of the most successful and wealthy Hollywood directors of all time. All you have to do is drop out of college and get hired to electrocute bugs on some low-budget B-movie until a director notices you and hires you, and then he gets fired and you take his job, and the producer hates you and you hate the producer, and then you go to Italy and break into the producer's office and eat food out of the trash, and then have a fever dream that gives you an idea for one of the most iconic sci-fi movies of all time, which you then pitch and get $6 million to make, and it comes out and becomes a huge hit, spawning a franchise that runs for decades. It's as easy as that. Anyone can do it.
The point is that he's good. He's a good filmmaker, no question about it. He hates me, but he's a good filmmaker.
I am Evasive. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments if you want me to do more kind of film history videos like this. And while I have you, I actually just posted a movie myself. It is called Sorry You Live Here, and it is about a disastrous trip that I went on with 2 friends to the Bonnaroo Music Festival back in June. The movie is available on my channel, cleverly disguised as a vlog, but make no mistake, this is a documentary film. So please give it a watch. And you know, some people are saying it's better than Avatar. And by some people, I mean me. I'm saying that. It's better than Avatar. Oh, rough. Also, before I end this video, as a member of Creators for Peace, I want to take some time right now to promote some underfunded GoFundMe campaigns for people in the war zone. I have a spreadsheet with a list of them for you to donate to, which you can find in the description below. Up top are the fundraisers I'm currently directly sponsoring, and along with them, there's dozens of other families I have listed who really need financial support right now too. So if you're able to, please check out the list and donate where you can. Also, if you liked this video and you want to support the channel, please consider supporting me on Patreon. We also have an exclusive Discord channel just for members. Also, please follow me on Instagram and Letterboxd, and now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go study the way of water by taking a very hot shower. Hot. Like fire. Avatar 3, Fire and Ash. Okay, we brought it back full circle. Thank you. Bye. Special thank you to my top tier patrons: Ackler, Alexis Angiano, Art, Blingo, C. Alba, Captain Chaos, Carl, Captain Croissantwich, 8-Bit Dylan, Eliza, Eric Vasilevsky, Fooly, Illumi, Josh Moniz, Keith Tibbetts, Mara Copland, Marina Plays Bass, Matthew A. Langevin, Matthew J., Pigeon Rose, Pooh Bear Thought, Rochelle M., Richard Brown, and Scott Myers.